Hey everybody, it is Lon. We are here live on my live stream. So great to have you all with us tonight. All right, I think we're back up and running. If you can see me, let me know. This happens all the time, and I was hoping that we may not have had this issue occur again, but I'm going to keep an eye on it. Okay, so it looks like, at least from my end here, my stream health is good. What I am going to do, though, is record all of this locally, so we will have an archive of it. I'm still having streaming problems with YouTube with the TriCaster, but I think what happens is that when I start off with the music, and I'm just having that still image up, I think that's causing some trouble for the bit rates and whatnot. So I've got to do a little bit more experimenting on this, but I'm going to keep an eye on the stream health as we go here. I need to figure out a way to get this off my iPad and onto a screen somewhere. But any event, it looks like the stream is healthy now, and I think we're all back. So what I wanted to do first was talk about what we're going to be giving away. Now, if you didn't enter yet, it's too late. So I did mention, I think, the last 2 weeks on the weekly wrap-up. So this is what we've got. So I've got these Google Cardboards here. I got these at VidCon, and what happened was they were giving them out to people, and by the third day of the conference, nobody wanted any, so I grabbed a bunch, and I figured I would give them away to all of you. So Google is not sponsoring this giveaway. This is just a thing that I am doing for all of you, and I figured before we get into the winners of the big thing here, I'll show you how this works. Now, these work, and by the way, you can buy these at Google Cardboard. They're like 20 bucks, and there's a whole bunch of different people that make them, so you can get these from just about anybody who makes the cardboard apparatus, so you can find those there. And what you do is take your smartphone, you put it inside here. Let me boot the app up first, back over to, yeah, it looks like I have to actually stop the stream in order for that to happen. So, you know what, guys, we're just going to run with it here. I'm going to record it, so we can, you can watch this later if you want, and hopefully it will look good when it's done with here. So we're still looking for some problems there. But yes, my iPhone screen is cracked, and I have been waiting on the new phone before I get a new one here. So I'm going to load up the Cardboard app so you can see how all of this works. And what happens here is you can see it's got this little like 2 split screen image here. When I put this inside the Cardboard and we wrap it around like that, I'm going to pull up camera 4 here, and hopefully it will reorient itself. So as you can see, as I'm moving around here, let me see, I wonder why it's not orienting the right way. But as I move around here, you can see that both images are moving together along with my device here. So it's really cool how this whole thing works, and it's a really neat way to do VR on the cheap. So like I said, you can go to Google's Cardboard site. They have a whole bunch of these things available from a number of different manufacturers, and they're not that expensive either. So I would definitely check that out. If you see that. And how did I crack the screen? Linked Designs wants to know. Well, I cracked the screen by dropping my phone. It hit the tile floor in my bathroom, and it was better than landing in the toilet. So I'm going to give, I'm going to take that. Unfortunately, it's a cracked screen, and it looks like it is beat up, and it is. This iPhone is, I get them right when they come out usually. So this one has met a really bad demise. And what's funny now is that because I have the watch, I am so like connected here between the two. So normally I would just go find an Android phone like the Moto G or something and just use that for a couple days. But you know, it's just so complicated right now. So I'm just going to wait for the new phone to come out. I'm going to get this one fixed. I'll probably, you know, sell this or trade it in somewhere. Going to get the Apple screen put on. It's about 100 bucks to get everything fixed, and that's what I'm going to do with it. So we'll see what happens. But yes, definitely better than the toilet. So do you guys want to know who won this contest or what? And then we can do some more Q&A if that works. And what I want to do is just make sure that my stream is still healthy. I'm not getting any more errors on my stream here, what I'm looking on the screen here. So I think we're in good shape, but we will find out what happens there. So without further ado, I don't have a drum roll. I should have like integrated that into the mix here, but I am going to pull up our winner list here, and let's see who won this contest. Now, just before I begin, we're going to take a break. Just kidding. Before I begin, I wanted to talk about the methodology here. I did have that posted on the rules also. So what happened is that everybody who entered the contest was put onto one of those Google spreadsheet forms. That's what you filled out when you entered. And what I did is I numbered from 1 to 207, which was the number of unique entries. It's one entry per person. You were assigned a number. I took that list of numbers, I put it into random.org, which is a website that generates random numbers, and it picked the 10 winners. Now, if any one of those 10 winners doesn't take this thing, I'm going to contact everyone to make sure that their address is correct. If for some reason someone doesn't take that, number 11 will get the next one on down. So you all have a position on this list. So if somebody refuses one, that's how it's going to get distributed. So that is the methodology that was used to pick the winner, and that is what happened there. So I am not picking favorites. It is all random.org's fault if you don't like what happened here. So here we go with the official winners here, and let's see what we've got here. And Norag Gahar is our first winner. I'm going to put up a full list of everyone after this. I hope I pronounced your name right, Norag Gahar. And then we've got Brian Birkenbein. Yeah, 207 total, I believe. Next winner is Andrew. And yes, he went by Andrew and nothing else. I do have his email address and all his information, so hopefully he'll be able to claim that. Maybe he's like Prince, you know, you don't need a last name. You can just call yourself Andrew. So Andrew is one of our winners there. The next winner is Ryan Rios. Pat Schultz, John Conway III, and by the way, I'm taking this off of whatever they submitted on their entry. If you didn't enter, it's too late, but please join us anyhow. We're going to have some Q&A in a few minutes. Next winner, Justin Hagen, Frank Wang, Carl Manson, Dawson Jensen is our last winner. So those are the 10 winners. If you didn't win, I am very sorry, but sometimes that happens there. And there is our full list of winners here. Let me pull up my little 2-up shot so you can all see what we've got here. And that is what we've got. So those are the winners up there. And I'm going to reach out to each of these folks individually to let them know that they won, and we'll get them their Google Cardboard over there. If you didn't win, I apologize. Sometimes, you know, things just don't go your way, but we did our best to find the most fair way to kind of operate this contest. So that is the official winners list, and I would love to start taking some questions here. Even if you didn't win, we can start playing with some stuff. And I don't know if you guys saw my drone review, but that was a really cool review there. Now I do want to say some of you may get some buffering on this stream. So here's what I'm doing is this is the brand new Google Live platform that they've just set up. And by the way, let me just fix one thing real quick here. Sorry, folks. I want to just fix I have like a double image here, and I know why. So let me go back over to my TriCaster here. We're on ME2. We need to put on DDR1. Oops, wrong one. Hang on a second. And DDR1. There we go. Much better. Okay. I knew something didn't look right, so I wanted to fix that. So I'll leave this up here as we get through the Q&A. So here's what's going to happen. We're going to see some buffering perhaps on the stream, and the reason why you might get that is I wanted to have a very short delay between the time that I'm talking and you're able to respond to me. So one of the ways I can fix the buffering in the future is I can put on a 30-second or a 60-second delay, which gives Google and YouTube more time to distribute this thing out fully. So that is why you might see a little bit of buffering on here. So let me see what we've got for questions here, and it looks like we've got 40 people on here watching this, so hopefully we can do something interesting. And Carl Kidd, oh great, so Carl's the guy that bought my C740. I'm glad it's working for you. That's excellent. That's a great, actually it's probably the best Chromebook from a performance standpoint that I used for sure. So that's a really nice device there, so good stuff. So what do you guys want to talk about? I'm here, probably going to stick around until like 10:15, 10:30 or so, and then I'm going to shoot a couple things and then go to bed. So let's see what we got on here. Let's see if I missed any questions while we were doing that. Yeah, Link Designs wants me to do some more giveaways. I might. This worked out really well. So you know what? Here's the thing with giveaways is that when you do them, and I'm in the United States, so we have all these laws about this stuff too. So you have to be very careful when you do a giveaway for anything because you basically cannot have, they have this thing called prize, chance, and consideration. So if you want to do a giveaway, you have to ask for something that doesn't cost any money. So for me, I just said enter the contest, because it's not a thing where you have to pay to get into this thing or do something that requires some effort to enter beyond just entering. So that's why you always see that no purchase necessary on rules and whatnot. So you have to be very careful that you don't have people pay to enter or do something that requires some degree of effort. Even having them do something above and beyond just filling out a form, or maybe giving more information that they might normally give on a form, could actually lead to problems. The other thing that comes into play here too is the fact that if you give away something that's valued at more than $600, you need to file with the Internal Revenue Service here in the United States as to who's getting that value and all the value of the device that you're sending out. So there are some things there. One of the things that Amazon is doing now is that they are running giveaways through Amazon.com. So you could buy something on Amazon and actually have them conduct the giveaway, and they take care of all the taxes and stuff too, which is pretty handy there. So Eric Chug is asking if I live on the beach, and I don't live on the beach, but I live close to it. So that is why you saw the beach photos with the drone stuff. And Mr. Stuffles wants to know about phone reviews. I would like to do more phone reviews. I got the Moto G still here. I like this phone a lot. Here's my problem. In the United States, I am on Verizon, and we have a different, so Verizon uses a different technology for mobile phones, at least for the voice portion of those calls, called CDMA. So a lot of these unlocked phones are just standard GSM phones that also support LTE, but they don't work on Verizon. So I often can't use the phones that I get in here to review. So that is why that is that way. But I'm hoping to get more phones. Phones are hard because I don't get a lot of traffic on phones yet, so a lot of the manufacturers I'm not on their radar screen, and I have a hard, so here's the thing, it's expensive to buy phones, as you all know, so I don't often buy a lot of the phones, but I might start doing more of that. I'm trying to find like a good workflow for my phone reviews, so that is why I'm looking to do that. So let's see, Brian Birkenbein loves my reviews. He bought the HFR 500, and he likes the camcorder, I hope. He's also a winner, because his name is up on the thing there. Let's see what I'm going to keep scrolling back up the list here. Thank you, Mr. Snuffles. I'm glad you like my videos. Glad you're watching. So Steve McKenzie wants to know if I upgraded the Stream Mini to Windows 10, and I haven't. I don't have it anymore, actually. That was something HP lent to me, so I only had it for probably about 2 weeks or so I wasn't able to do the upgrade on it. It should work, and I'm not sure. And Steve, maybe are you trying to force the update through the process that I suggested earlier with that upgrade thing? Try that and see if maybe that might let you do it. Tony DiNicola wants to know if I'm going to do some more rocket launches. Definitely, I'm hoping to do some more. Right now, most of the rockets that are going to get launched are grounded. So SpaceX and Orbital Sciences both are grounded at the moment, although Orbital is getting packed up for their next space station mission. Orbital is what launched that rocket that exploded pretty spectacularly in Virginia. So they're getting ready to do another launch in the future. I may try to get to one of those, because I haven't been to one of those launches yet. So maybe we'll try to get down to that. Let's see. Joshua Brown has the Chromebook Pixel. I always wanted to try one of those things. There's nice screens on those. I did use one briefly when I picked up my I had Google Glass for a short time 2 years ago. And when I went and picked it up, they had you fill out all your information on a Chromebook Pixel. It was a pretty nice machine. Let's see here. Ozzy O said he put Windows 10 on his tablet and it's very laggy and is trying to reverse the changes, but it wouldn't allow me to get to settings to do it. I think if you get into your recovery partition, you might be able to backtrack it. I have to check. Maybe I'll try to do that on the Stream 7. I have to charge it up again. Maybe I can try to do a reverse on that. Maybe people might find that interesting to see how to do that. Let's see. And Eric loves this space videos too. I'm glad you guys do. I'm hoping to get more traffic on that stuff. It's funny. There's not like a lot of interest in space overall. You think people would be interested in it because people are always talking about it, but a lot of times with space, it tends to be something that is really they like to see the picture on the news, but they don't really like to go into depth on it. And I think that's the problem with how we're doing space exploration right now. Certainly, it's safer and cheaper and faster to some degree to send robots into space, but there lacks a human story around it. And I think what made space exploration such an important part of this country in the 60s and 70s and 80s and the Soviet Union for that matter too, and China now, has been the fact that a lot of the space programs beginning centered around sending people up. Where I think there's a relation that people can have to other human beings. Even with the Mars rover, when that landed 2 or 3 years ago now, the engineers behind it became such a part of that. And I think that's what's really been lacking in our space program right now. We got to start sending some people places again, and that's where they're going with it. It's just taking some time, but I think that'll develop some interest. But what's been interesting is that I don't see a lot of traffic on the space videos that I did. So the SpaceX launch that I went to, actually, because I've done a lot of space videos even before I had the tech channel going, and a lot of I got more traffic on those videos than I've had for any space video I've done, with the exception of some of the space shuttle launch stuff that I had in the archive there. But there's just not a lot. I get like 3,000 or 4,000 views on something, and most of the other space content creators get around the same. It's not a huge, not a huge audience for it. And I think if we had people going up and doing some, distant travel and kind of the moon landing kinds of stuff, things like we had before, that might actually get more traffic there. So Jeff N wants to know, what's better, Mac or PC? I'm not touching that one. I use both for different reasons, but I have found that, for what I use personally is a Mac, but I also have a Windows PC that I use quite a bit, my big gaming rig over there, and I have a Dell notebook also. So it depends on what I'm doing, but typically I'm using the Mac most of the time for my day job, where I'm doing some database work and some other things, and I'm connecting to a Windows server and using that Windows server via remote desktop on my Mac, so I'm kind of doing both there. So Stephen Wingo wants to know about holograms, and I don't know when they're going to become of use. I want the holodeck from Star Trek. That's what I want to see here. iTechie12 wants to know what computer I use to edit my videos. It's downstairs right now, but I have a 3.5-year-old MacBook Pro Retina, maybe just about 3 years old, that is still kicking away really well, and that's what I use to edit videos. And I'm finding now that I'm starting to shoot some 4K footage. So we saw the drone footage that we had. Also, my two field cameras that I use out in the field are two Sony cameras. They're both now 4K. So I'm starting to see that computer kind of struggles a little bit on the 4K video. So I'm waiting for the new Intel Skylake chips, and I'll probably upgrade to whatever the MacBook Pro that has that chipset will support. And the reason I use the Mac for video editing is that I am really into Final Cut Pro. I think for me, it's so fast and so easy to use that I've been really pleased with it. So I'm going to be sticking to Final Cut Pro for the foreseeable future, so I'll definitely be upgrading my Mac at that point. Jeff Serto says, hello, everyone. Carl Kidd said he liked looking forward to my Phantom 3 Pro reviews. I would love to, yeah, I agree. The Phantom 3 is awesome. I have it downstairs right now, too, with my Mac. And it's great. I'm just totally blown away by it. And what I said in the review is something I think everyone should take to heart, is that it is so easy to fly that you get overconfident very quickly with it. I've been very careful about it because I learned a lot of hard lessons with my Parrot drone initially, because I was getting really good at kind of making it do some cool stuff. And then one day I did something and it just fell out of the sky and nearly hit somebody. So you gotta be really careful with these things. But that Phantom is just, it's such a stable video platform. I'm really looking forward to taking it places and doing more video. The one thing that I'm really mindful of is the altitude, because it can fly as high as a lot of small aircraft can. You're not supposed to fly it that high, but where I live, I've seen, I live about 4 miles from an airport. There's a small airport up the road from me, and I'm almost kind of in the flight path depending on the wind. So I don't try to, at my place, I don't send it up too high here because I don't want to get in the way of those planes coming in. And I've taken a few planes into that airport, so I don't want to be on a plane when someone's flying a drone that high. And I'm going to be very careful where I am flying this thing, especially around my yard. Down at the beach that you saw, I can probably, there's less of a active airspace there, so I'm going to try to do some high altitude stuff there, provided it doesn't land in the water first. So that is it there. Mobile Decay is also on Verizon. Yep, it is not. Well, you know what? Here's the thing. It's the best coverage where I live, because in my home, the only thing that works in my house is Verizon. And we had, so here's what happened, is I was on AT&T for a while, and Sprint before that. I've been on everything. And when the iPhone came out, I was not planning on getting an iPhone, and then my wife was away for the weekend, and I was bored, and the iPhone was out, and I just drove to the mall and bought one, and that was it. So it's even before I had the YouTube channel. And I switched to AT&T, and I got home, and I couldn't use the phone in my house. I felt like such an idiot. So I've since switched back to Verizon, and we had in Connecticut, we had 2 big storms here. We had that tropical storm, whatever they call it, Superstorm Sandy, and then Hurricane Irene the year before. And in both of those storms, we had a long duration power outage, and AT&T and all the other carriers were down. Verizon was the only one that worked throughout the entire storm on both the instances, and they really had I think they had a better network infrastructure, at least where I live. So that's why I stick with Verizon down here, just because the service is better at my house, which is the #1 priority, but #2, when we had an emergency situation, theirs was the service that worked, and that's why I kind of stuck with that. What's funny, though, is that different carriers are better in different places, so that's something that you should keep in mind there. So Bling-a-Ding says that his wife makes fun of his geek habits. Do you get the same from your wife? You know what's funny? My wife is just like, she's just doesn't judge anymore because she knows it's just another day at the office here. What's been great about the YouTube channel is that the things that I buy are coming out of the revenue that the channel is creating. So I'm buying a lot and reselling these things, as you all know. So I'm not spending a lot of the household money on all this stuff anymore. So she's kind of just, okay, whatever, it looks cool, and she likes that I've got a hobby. And the nice thing about this hobby is that it keeps me at home more. So after I'm done with the day job, I come home, we hang out with the family, we have dinner, I put my daughter to bed, and then I come in here and either do a live stream like I'm doing now, or I just record stuff, and it's great. I can do it right here from the house. So that is what I've been up to. So Joshua Brown wants to know what budget tablet I recommend most. Joshua, the best question, follow-up for that from me is what operating system you want to run on it, because you've got a lot of choices now. You've got Android, you got Windows. We have the iOS, of course, too. You can get some refurb tablets there. So let me know what OS you want to run on there. We can come back to that question. Yeah, I wish they would make a CDMA version of everything. Actually, what I'm most excited about, and I talked about this in one of my commentary videos, is the new Moto X style that's coming out is going to work on everything. And you can buy an iPhone that way also. So Apple, if you go to Apple's website, you can buy an iPhone 6, and I'm sure the 6 Plus or S, whatever they're going to call it. You can buy that like completely carrier free. It'll work on anything. But that phone for like the 16 gig model is like $850. The Moto X style is going to be $400, and that's going to work on every carrier. So you just pop whatever SIM card you got in there, and it's going to work. And I really hope that's where everyone goes with this, because even though it costs maybe a little bit more to integrate that CDMA technology in it, I'd like to be able to have that freedom to kind of choose carriers. And if it has a dual SIM slot, like this this Moto G here has two. I think this one has two SIMs. Let's see. No, just one. The LG that I have, one of these phones that I got too many phones to keep track of. One of the phones that I have has two SIM slots on it, so you can actually run two different carriers simultaneously. It only does the high-speed data on one of them, but you've got that, so pretty cool stuff. I saw a glitch. I don't know if you guys saw that blink there. Let me know. All right, let's see. I got to scroll back up here. I'm on my list of things. Gosh, you guys are writing a lot of comments on here. I should probably stop answering questions for so long. Let's see. So Kylan's birthday is today, so you can all sing happy birthday to him. So we should do that. What I might want to do, you guys should tell me if this would be interesting to you. What I was thinking about is doing a way for you all to call into this, if that would be something you'd want to do. Like if you get up on the stream here with me, I would have somebody kind of monitoring that so we don't have any naked people show up or something. But I think it'd be kind of cool to have some like verbal interaction beyond just the text stream here. So if you want to do that, let me know when we do the next stream here. So let's see. Venki Gan wants me to know if I can review other VR devices. I'm definitely interested in looking at more VR devices. They're really hard to review though, because you'll have to kind of rely on what I am interpreting with it, because you obviously can't translate what I'm seeing on one of these devices into a video. But I'm really eager to try all these new ones coming out. And I don't have a lot of time to play games these days, but I am really excited about that game No Man's Sky. It just looks so awesome because there's no like story. You just kind of get into it, you play for a little while and leave. But I'm looking at that like, man, that's gonna be an awesome game to play in VR. So hopefully they have a VR version of that. Mark, who wanted me to check out a cheaper tablet, is going to send me some info on that. That's great. Let's see. The Tandy 1000 from Ozzy O. Yes, I've never owned a Tandy computer. I had a friend that had a Tandy color computer back in the day, but I am going to do something. I'm hoping this week to get to that Virtual Boy thing, because I got this flash cartridge that I'm really eager to check out. Let's see what we got here. Mr. Stoffels, not yet on the Moto X. It is. I don't think it's out yet. I think it's coming out next month, so hopefully they will keep me on their list and send me one when it's ready. Let's see. So Mungren wants me to give away my NVIDIA Shield. I'm not giving that away to anybody. I like that thing. I use it all the time. So that is now my go-to box. And if they, here's the one thing with the NVIDIA Shield that I may do a video follow-up on this, because the one thing that drives me crazy about it, and this is going to be a common issue, is this game streaming thing. So it works great for most of the games out there, but I've been playing this Rocket League game, and I love it. It's a lot of fun, except it doesn't stream to the Shield. I can get it over to the Shield, but the controller doesn't work. So you can see it, but you can't actually control anything. It does work with Steam in-home streaming, so I can stream to a Steam-equipped computer. Any of my computers in the house can play it back, but I really want to put it on my television and play with my NVIDIA Shield, and I can't play that game with it. It drives me nuts. So I'm hoping they can. I'm just getting worried that we're going to have, like, just like with the Netflix and the Apple stuff, we're going to have 5 different boxes that we have to connect to do anything we want to do on our TVs. So, and I just don't want to like lug that huge tower downstairs or even into the next room because I like it where it is. So, let's see here. The Note 5. I haven't looked at those phones yet. I need to take a look at those. I got to develop a relationship with Samsung because quite honestly, I don't want free phone. I don't want any free things because I don't have any place to put them. So I'd like to just review things and send them back. And I've got to develop a relationship with a few more of these wireless phone makers to get some loaners in that I can look at and then send back, because that would really be good to start doing. I do want to do more with phones because I think there's probably some room to do. So I try to do things that are not. I review things. I'm a techie kind of guy, but I try not to be too techie. And I think that's what's making this channel work. Is I'm attracting a lot of people who are just searching in, kind of in a buying mode, and they're searching for information on products, and they're looking for something a little less technical, more like hands-on, how it works kind of stuff. And that's what I try to shoot for. So I would like to get more phones on and start reviewing some of those. Let's see. Blingading wants to know about ITV. I haven't tried it yet. I know that, I think it was you that wrote in about that. I do have it. It's on this old, I don't even know where the thing is at the moment. I bought it a long time ago because I was using it for a short period of time. So back before Comcast scrambled all my local channels, I had the original HD home run, and I was using that along with a Mac Mini to kind of act as a DVR. And I need to check that out to see if that outside the network thing would work yet. Part of the reason why I didn't go with ITV on this current strategy that I have for watching television with Windows Media Center was that the cost involved with doing that on a Mac was a lot more. Like, to have a Mac just kind of sit there, in a server role, it's very expensive to do. So I've got like an old laptop that is actually running my whole Windows Media Center thing, and it's working really well. So that's been good stuff. Let's see. Yeah, so Steve had a Google Glass also. Thoughts on the Dell Chrome? Oh, the new Jason Deason. Can you email me at Lon.TV a link to that Chromebook? Because I haven't heard about that Dell one. I'd love to get stuff in there for that. Chrome base reviews, I haven't yet. I know Acer's got one of those. I've been talking with Acer. I've got to follow back up with them because I think they were going to send me a Chrome base to take a look at. I guess that's the big screen all-in-one Chrome device, right? So we'll check that one out. And Mobile Decay, I have space videos. If you go on the channel and do a search, I think I've got them on a big playlist. I should look for that. Let me see if I can find it on here. I should have brought an extra computer up here because I don't want to lose this chat room thing. So I will look and see. But yeah, if you do a search on my channel just for NASA, you'll see a bunch of stuff that I did. I was down in February. I went to the launch of the SpaceX Discover mission where they sent the satellite 1 million miles away from Earth. And actually that satellite just came back with a reverse image of Earth, that new blue marble picture. It is really cool, so you got to check that out. Eric, let's see. Yeah, and Salmon Textile talks about gravity and interstellar. There'd be more interest in NASA. I thought so too, but again, you know what? Those are human stories, and we're not telling a lot of human stories in space right now, and I think that's the biggest challenge. Now, we were with the moon landings. People got bored with that too, so I don't know, unless maybe we can just invent warp drives and just start sending people to other planets and different distant solar systems. Maybe that'll keep people engaged. It's really tough. So Eric Chug wants to know about Hackintoshes. I've tried in the past to do Hackintoshes. I was looking at doing it on my machine over there, but you know what? It's so much work, and sometimes you can get like 3/4 of the way there, but your audio doesn't work, and they really don't make it easy. And it's just because Apple has a very set list of hardware that they operate from, and if you can't match it up identically to it, it just doesn't work so well. And it really is a lot of work to get going. But it kills me because I really would love to have my video editing machine be that PC right there, because I've got a really fast GPU on it, and Final Cut would do really well with that. But not all my hardware is compatible with the Hackintosh stuff, so I haven't really got into that. Let's see. Do I think a Dell Chromebook 11 is much better than the Acer Chromebook 11? I think if the Acer you're asking about is the C740, I do think that's the better one because it's a lot faster. It's got that Broadwell Celeron chip on it. So you're going to get a lot better performance out of there. And even, for a while, like performance on Chromebooks didn't matter as much, but I think more and more is getting put into Chrome, especially now because you can run a lot of the Android apps on the Chrome platform. So you really want a faster computer. And I think that C740 is just awesome. I have heard, and iGeekman is asking about Remix 2.0, and I have heard about Remix. There is a Kickstarter that I put some money into. I've been doing a lot of Kickstarters lately. There's been a lot of neat stuff. So I put some money into a Kickstarter for an Android device that is running Remix. So as soon as I get that, I am definitely going to put that up on the channel. So that'll probably be a little while, but if there are devices that are out now running Remix, email me at Lon.TV. I definitely want to check that out. And see, Perry watches NASA TV. That's great, and I think more people should watch it. And it is cool to watch the ISS. I actually, you can go and find out when the ISS is going to pass over you. And there's times, many times throughout the course of the month that you can see it. Usually, like just after the sunset or just before dawn, you can get a list of exactly what time it's coming over, and it's amazing just to go out and watch it because sometimes it's a really bright dot that you'll see going across the sky. And it's great to it's a good conversation piece because as little as that star looks, it's brighter than the moon a lot of times. And there are 6 people living up there right now, living and working together. And I think that's just totally cool. So it's a great conversation piece. And I think that's another way to kind of humanize this because there are astronauts up there right this minute working away. And I think it's really cool. Let's see. How do I feel about oh, we answered that one already. Microsoft HoloLens. I'm interested in seeing the HoloLens. From what I'm hearing about it, though, is that the field of view is getting more narrow on it, so it doesn't really fill up your peripheral vision, but it looks cool, so I'm looking forward to trying that out. Jeff N. wants to know if we're ever going to see the basement again. You will. I am meeting with the guy very shortly, probably in about the next 2 weeks or so, maybe a month. We're going to talk about getting that project started, and I want to do basically what's going to happen is my room here is filling up with tech and it looks like crap. I've got to get this place cleaned up, and the only solution is to move myself down to the basement. So I'm getting evicted out of here, but I'm going to have a big man lair downstairs with all my tech gear. So we're going to get that rebuilt. I think I'm going to try to do maybe have somebody who has some experience with set design and lighting come in because I don't know how to do any of this stuff. I just kind of mess around with it until it looks passable. So I'm going to have somebody come in, hopefully not for too much money, and kind of guide me at least in putting some set design stuff together. The challenge that you run into, especially with all the stuff that I used to have on the wall, is I went and took a course at YouTube at the Creator Space in New York City, and they talked about copyright and innocent violations of copyright. So if you look behind me right now, I think I can get away with the Virtual Boy there, but generally you don't want to have... I just dropped something. I'm not sure what that was. Generally, you don't want to have logos appearing somewhere that belong to a brand. So you see that on TV a lot of times. Like they'll have the little Apple icon that they'll put some tape over it or something like that because the logo itself is a copyright. Apple owns the copyright to that logo, and if you don't have permission or they're not paying you to put that thing there, you really shouldn't have it there, and you can actually get dinged on copyright. It doesn't really happen all that much on YouTube, but I really want to stay on the up and up. So I'm really trying, you guys know I'm always thinking about how to grow this and scale this thing, and I want to look as professional as possible. And I also want this content to be portable because if if some other content place wants to buy my content or use it in a different form, I want to make sure that I'm going to be compatible with other mediums. So that's why I've been really trying to prevent any of those copyright things. So Brian Birkenbein is back again. He says, son is starting college, interested in notebooks that are good for all-around college use, no heavy graphic editing, and maybe good battery life. So let me tell you something that might piss off a lot of people listening who are not fans of the Mac. I think the MacBook Air and the MacBook, the new little one, are both excellent for college students. I sent my sister-in-law back. She graduated college 5-6 years ago, but I sent her off with a Mac that worked throughout her entire 4 years. They never get gunked up with stuff. They just work much better. And this might change as the Apple becomes more popular. It might be more of an attractive target for hackers and whatnot. But generally, as somebody who's been the family go-to guy for fixing computers, I have far less calls from family members to fix Macs than I do on the Windows side. So I've moved a lot of my family members over to Macs. I moved my mother from a Mac to a Chromebook because she wasn't doing anything on the Mac that really needed to have a Mac for. So she's been doing everything on the Chromebook now, and she's quite happy with it. She has an iPad and a Chromebook from Asus, and that's what she's using. But I think for college students, the Mac is probably the best choice. The MacBook Airs have great battery life. The 13-inch has better battery life than the 11. The new MacBook is, I mean, that thing is great. I get battery life on that that's almost comparable to what I get on my iPad. It's really a nice machine for college students, if you can afford it. If you can't, there are some other ones out there that are pretty good. At Dell XPS 13 that I looked at, if you get the 1080p screen, you can get in at a pretty low price on it, and you get a 13-inch screen in an 11-inch form factor, and I think that's a really nice computer there too. So there are Windows machines that I like. The Asus, the UX305 that I reviewed from Asus, that one's awesome too. I think that one is as a Windows machine, is every bit as good as the MacBook Air. It's kind of modeled after. It's got this same kind of look to it. So that's a really good machine. So check that out. Official Cam wants to know, is Windows 10 free? That's the operative question. It is free if you have an existing Windows license. So if you are running with so if you have a computer that you bought that has Windows 8 on it or Windows 7, you can upgrade it to Windows 10 for free. I have tried, so you guys know I got those MegoPad things from overseas. So some of these computers were coming with a non-activated version of Windows on them. You cannot upgrade it to the Windows 10 without getting a code. So you're going to need that code, and if you don't have the code, you got to pay to get one. So you have to buy a Windows 8 license or a Windows 10 license in order to do that. But it will be free to upgrade for the next year. I suspect that after that year expires, they'll probably keep doing it because I think they want to get everybody onto this Windows 10 platform, which is going to kind of become a constant rolling upgrade versus more of a version thing that they've been doing before. Let's see. Sharak wants to know how I feel about the Note 5. I haven't looked at it yet, so I really can't say. So I do want to try to get a relationship built with Samsung there and check out that device. So I generally don't like big phones. What's funny, though, is that when people were getting those Note 5s, a few people in my office had them. I was like, gosh, those phones are so huge. And now it's kind of the norm. And it was neat to see. I was at my local cellular store the other day, and the Note 4, even though it's got like a similar size screen, if not the same size screen as the iPhone 6 Plus, the Note 4's bezels are smaller, so it's not as big. So the iPhone 6 Plus is really big. So let's see. Yeah, very funny. And Kirsch too. So look, I'm an equal. So here's the thing. You guys don't realize how old I am. I'm 38. Okay, so when I was a kid, we got our Apple IIe in 1982. 1982 we got it. And back then, like Commodore and Apple were like, at war. I mean, you were in one camp or the other. It was like this whole big thing. It was this like Coke and Pepsi kind of thing. And then you had that for a while, and then the IBM PC came out, and that kind of pushed. The Commodores kind of got pushed out because the IBMs were getting faster, the compatibles were coming out, everybody was switching over to MS-DOS. You had this whole Apple versus IBM, initially with the Apple II versus the IBM PC, and then the Mac versus this. And so I've been through all these machinations of things, and my whole thing on which platform to use is that I think you got to pick what's right for what you need to get done. So, for a lot of what I do, the Mac and the iPhone work really well for me, and that's why I choose those things because, I used to like to tweak things. I built that computer, but that was like the first computer I built in probably 7 or 8 years because I've just been so busy with all the things that I've been doing in my life that I just need stuff that works. And that's why the Mac was really attractive to me. And once they switched over to Intel, I could run all the Windows stuff that I needed to run, as well as have the Mac platform. And believe it or not, the reason why I went to Mac initially was for Keynote, which is their PowerPoint things. I was doing a lot of presentations for some work that I was doing, and nobody else was using Keynote. So my presentations always had a bit of almost like a little bit of glimmer to them. They weren't shiny or blinking or anything, but there was just such a professionalism with the way the cross dissolves work. And you've seen it on all my videos that I have graphics of. I'm using Keynote for that. It just looked better, and I think that was kind of what sold me on the Mac. So yeah, I mean, I try not to get into these cross-platform fights, and I know anytime I review an iPhone, I'm going to get a ton of dislikes on the video because people just hate iPhones with a passion. I don't care. Like, I've been around the bend long enough with this technology stuff, and I'll admit, back in the day, I was a proud warrior of whatever platform I was on, but I switched a lot. So let me pull my camera up here. So this was my computer. Let me zoom in on that. Let's take a look at that. This was my computer back in the day when I was a kid. I had an Apple IIG. That's the same 2GS I had when I was 12 or 13 years old. That's what I got online with for the first time with Genie and one of these online services and stuff. So I was like a big Apple IIGS person. I was like, the Apple IIGS could do no wrong. It's better than anything. And then a friend of mine got a 286 with a VGA card in it, and I was like, wow, that's amazing. And so I slowly made the transition to the PC. I was a PC guy up until about 2002, and that's when I went back to Mac. So for a while I had a PC and a Mac laptop, and then the Mac laptop wasn't very good, and I just kind of went to PC and stayed there for a while, and then kind of flipped back. So, you know, it's one of those things. I've always picked what works right for me. So let's see what else we got on our stream here. You don't want me singing. This is getting recorded, so I don't want a record of that, but I'll tell you what, why don't somebody, if you all send me some videos of you singing Happy Birthday, I will post them on the channel in one of my wrap-ups. So for Kylan's birthday today, we can definitely, so I think we should have a community sing-along here. And I can't have me just singing. I think we need everybody else singing. So, and Official Cam, if you look on that window right there, that is the list of winners. So if you're not on there, I apologize. Random.org is the one that picked the winners. So I tried my best. We had 207 entries, which was great. Mungren wants to know what I do for a living. So I am in a family business. We own, my family owns a company called The Safety Zone. We make disposable gloves, which are used in food service environments and all those kinds of places. So my joke is I am the management trainee. I've been that way for the last 30 years, but I work with my family there, and it's a lot of fun, and I really enjoy it. And what's nice is that a lot of what I've learned about business, I've learned from growing up in the family business, which has been really helping grow the channel. So I'm able to make, you know, it just really helps to have that background because when you do something like what I'm doing, as you all know, I don't have any staff that works for me on this project. This is an evening and weekend thing for me. So you know, really, you know, trying to learn ways to be efficient, both in how you do your work and also how you run your operation has been really helpful for me. So that's been great. And I always like giving advice. I have, by the way, if you're watching and you are a YouTube content creator, I have a Facebook group that I set up for all of us to kind of share what we're doing. And if you want some free advice from me and others, definitely look for that. Send me an email, Lon.TV, and I'll get you the link to it because I have the link somewhere. I can't remember what I did with it. Let's see. I'm gonna go on for another 10 minutes, and I got to get to some stuff here in the house. So I've got to shoot my weekly wrap-up video too, and then I got to get to bed because I'm tired. Have I ever used Ubuntu or other Linux OS? I have used Ubuntu. I haven't really found a use for me, but I do run a Linux OS on my Synology drive downstairs. I have some things running on that outside of the Synology software. Raspberry Pis, of course, run that, and I use the Raspberry Pi for different projects every once in a while, too. So I think there's a real good place for Linux operating systems. Ubuntu is probably the easiest to use and get set up and working. But a lot of course, I'm using Macs a lot, so you know, there's a lot of Unix stuff that goes on with the Macs, too. So I haven't really found, for me, value in operating with Ubuntu day in and day out, but it's certainly a lot better than it was when I first started playing with it, for sure. Yes, so home automation, and I've got the folks from Ecobee. They're sending somebody over here to hook up those thermostats. So I tried getting that thing installed, and I just couldn't get it going. So I'm eager to try the Ecobee. That's like a Nest competitor that works with the Apple HomeKit, but it also works with Android too. So it's completely cross-platform, and I've been really eager to try that out. So because I have all these programmable thermostats. I never get them programmed right. The clocks get off on them. And it's a mess. And I know I'm wasting money right now with those thermostats. So I'm eager to get that in here and start playing with the Ecobees and see how that works. I do want to try some other home automation stuff too. And yeah, I need to find things that I can automate in the home that I really, you know, like the light switch stuff. It's cool. But, you know, everything in my house, I have to have somebody come in and install because I've got, you know, I'm just not good at these things. And if I do it, I'm going to break something or burn the house down. So I'm really reluctant to do that. So DJ Bishop wants to know what to do with an old computer after he removes the hard drive. It depends on what it is for an old computer. I often find things that I can do with old computers, like have them be little servers, like my media server is a great example of that. But you know, one great use for an old computer is to, if you have a school nearby, or even if you don't, find some school, is donate it to a school because there are a lot of kids that don't have access to the technology that they need for their education. They're coming into school early, they're staying late, they don't have this equipment in the home that they can use, or if they have one in the home, they only have one and not enough for every person in the home to use it. So there are, you know, I know in many schools, my school locally does this, you know, they often identify the kids that might need something and try to link them up with donors. So I would donate it to a school if you're not using it. And I've been doing that with some of the stuff that I have here too, because they always have a need. and it's really great to be able to find a use for it that's useful there. What's great though about, and you guys know I love the low end technology, the stuff that isn't expensive, and I've been really, like over the last year and a half since we've been looking at some of those $200 PCs, it's so great to see like very useful laptops like those HP Streams or those Asus UX 205s and all the other stuff out there. That you're able now to get a usable computer into these homes. You could buy, one for $200 or less. You can get a compute stick for $100 or 90, 150, and you have a computer that you now can give to a kid in a home that didn't have one before. And it was killing me when I'm on my local board of education, and I often ask the teachers, what happens with the kids that don't have technology at home to use? They're coming in, like I said, they're coming into school early, they're coming into school late. They're missing out on other things because they need to get their work done at a time that they can have access to the technology. So getting these things into the hands of kids that can't afford them is going to give them a leg up they need in life, and I think it's really important. I was very fortunate that my father was starting the business back in 1982 when we bought that Apple IIe, so I had a computer in the home since I was in second grade. Now, for a lot of you watching, you probably had a computer since birth, but back in my day, it was not a common thing to have a computer in the home, so it was really cool to have access to that. It kind of led to all of the stuff that I'm doing now. One thing leads to another in life, and so I want more kids to have access to this stuff, especially media production devices. And you can do some limited media production on some of these things too. So Link Designs wants to know if I can go into Windows 10 in depth more. You'd like to see more devices on Windows 10, especially low-end tablets. Yeah, I could do that. Email me, Linked. I want to know what you want to see because that's important. Because there's a lot of people that do a lot of Windows stuff, so I'm trying not to replicate what other people do too much because my channel. So you all watching are subscribers, and by the way, there's still 44 of you watching this, which is great. So you all are subscribers. You have an interest in what I'm doing, and what's shocking to me, I've been running my numbers here. My subscribers are about 8% now of my traffic. Now that's double what it was a year ago, which is awesome. So the subscriber base is definitely making up a larger portion of my video views, but 92% are people coming in from search, and they're searching for specific products that they're looking to buy or something like that. So what I'd like to do is try to find out if someone hasn't reviewed something a certain way or is looking at an operating system in a way that isn't what you're looking for, let me know, because I really want to make sure that if I'm going to do something in depth, when I do these in depth like explainer things, it takes time to prepare those. So I really want to find things that I'm not seeing out there, or maybe they're not being explained simply enough or something like that. So that would really help to get some of that feedback there. So that would be great. Let's see, flying the micro drones. Yes, Justin. So Justin Higgins said flying the micro drones really helps you with the bigger ones. I would definitely agree with that. In fact, I think playing with the Parrot drone for the last 2.5, 3 years. I had the old one up there and the new one somewhere in the house. That really helps having that foundation because you get a feel for how the quadcopters work. So you have to pitch them forward to move them forward, and I found that I was because those controls on the Phantom are so precise that I was really able to kind of get it into the right spot for putting things down. And here's what's funny about the Parrot drone. So you use this thing and it sometimes like loses its connection briefly to the iPad because it's just relying on Wi-Fi or whatever you're using to control it. And I was out there with my daughter kind of showing her how this thing works because she was fascinated with it. And it just went bonkers and it flew into a tree. Like it just went zip right into the tree. I didn't tell it to go there. Maybe I had my finger on the screen and angled it. Probably was my fault in the end. But either way, the Parrot drone, not the DJI Phantom, the Parrot went right into the tree. And so it was in the tree, it got stuck in the tree, and it's like 30 feet up in the tree. So this is not something you can just go and, take a stick. And so I was like, what do I have that I can get this thing down with? So I went into the garage. We have, so I live in Connecticut where we get a lot of snow. We have something called a roof rake, which is this big, like 30 foot long pole with a shovel on the end of it that you use for scraping snow off your roof. And if you live in a wintry environment, that's kind of important when you get too much snow on your roof. So I took this thing out and I get it up in the tree. I'm trying to shake the branch, and then one of the little extender things on the roof rake fall off. So now I've got the drone and the roof rake stuck up there. So I finally got everything down on Sunday, which was great. And the drone spent a couple nights in the tree, but it was no worse for it. So we lucked out. And by the way, I got the drone down. I've never been so accurate with a throw in my life. I took a rock, and I was really nervous about using the rock here, but it was my only option because the tennis ball wasn't doing anything. And I chucked the rock up, and it hit the branch just the right way, and it got the drone down. I've never in my life been that accurate with a throw. Never will be again. But that was how I got it up. I got it down, so that was cool. Official Cam, you want a shout out? You got it. There you go. Budget PC gaming. Yeah, I need to get I do need to get into that. I just need to get the research done on it. And again, I'm trying to do it from a different perspective, so we need to look at that. What I might look at, because I'm starting to see more of these things, I may take a look and see if I can find some pre-built budget PCs and maybe take a look at those. That might be more interesting. So, all right, guys, about 10 more minutes here, and then I got to get out of here. So what are your thoughts on using FreeNAS with the Plex plugin to manage movies and vids? I mean, you could do that. I mean, you know, again, I've been coming back to this notion of there's ways you can roll your own kind of stuff, but I really am finding value in buying things that just come ready to operate. So it's why I like the WD MyCloud NAS. This analogy is what I use a lot here in the house too, because you can buy this thing, it's complete. In the case of the WDs, it has the hard drives built in. Seagate has that also. And you can boot the thing up and go. What's really nice about all of these, and the Synologies in particular, is that they're constantly doing all of the open source updates for you also. So one of the things that you run into when you've got a NAS box running that you built yourself is that you're kind of responsible for keeping everything up to date and doing all the upgrades, and if something goes wrong. So it's nice on all of these that they get updated frequently to get all those security holes patched, and that's been really helpful. I've really liked having that, just because I just don't, you know, I try to, any free time I have is like on this channel, so I'm trying not to buy things that add complexity or build things that add complexity in my life right now. But FreeNAS and a Plex plugin, I'm sure would work. I'm sure it would. If it doesn't work, what you can do is point Plex at the NAS drive. So you can actually have Plex look over the network to a network drive. I'm going to do a video on that because people keep asking me about it, and I think I put it into my Plex one of my Plex videos had it in there, but I'm going to do another one because I think that's something that's been coming up quite a bit. So let's see what we got here. I missed something here. Brian had a big win. Let's see. Let me scroll down here. So which one's better, the Phantom 2 or 3? I haven't tried the 2, but I think the 3 is definitely better. That is an awesome... oh, Brian, he was thanking Brian for the win on the... I'm sorry, never mind. The Phantom 3 is a lot better than the 2, I think. I mean, it's certainly nice. I didn't try the 2, so I really can't say one way or the other. But Carl Kidd says the Phantom 3 is by far, so I'll give him that. Let's see... And DJ about the Ouya review, so he's bought one because of me. That's great. Yeah, it was great. I liked it for the years that I was using it, but the NVIDIA Shield is awesome. I think that is the best set-top box, and it's more expensive than any set-top box you'll buy. It's $200, but it's great. I really, you know, minus the PC streaming issues that are kind of getting to me, but everything else in that is awesome. Google Cardboard in the Philippines costs $10. That is a good deal. Have I ever tried an MVNO? I haven't. Did I? Maybe I have. I've used them somewhere along the way, one of those prepaid carriers or something. And yeah, it would be nice to try one of those. I would love for, Google has one now, and I was going to try it, except you have to buy their Nexus 6 phone. They don't let you use it with anything else. But that, I think Google's MVNO is going to be a good one to try out when it's available. Let's see. So Eric Hardy is asking about the NVIDIA Shield storage. Is it necessary to get the 500 gigabyte drive? I mean, for me, it's not, because I don't play a lot of Android games on it. But if you have things that are going to take up a lot of space, like some of those games can be pretty big, you might want to do it, because you know Android is not friendly to having games on SD cards. You can move games to the SD card if you want. The problem with the Android, with the NVIDIA Shield TV, or any Android device for that matter, is that some of the games you can move the APK file or the program file to the card, but then it downloads all this supplementary content, like a gigabyte's worth, that it sticks back onto your main memory. So I think if you plan to do a lot of Android gaming and downloading some of those larger titles, you might want the 500 gig version. But for me, it was fine, because I typically, I'm just using it mostly for streaming from that thing back there. I'm also playing some retro games on it, mostly for retro gaming, so I don't really need the space, but I think you might want to do that. Let's see. No, Girth, let's see. Let me go back here. So linked on the number of views. Yeah, well, here's the thing. You know, Marcus Brownlee, I met him actually at the Motorola event recently, and yeah, I don't have the same production values because I don't have the time to do all the editing and the color grading and everything else. I don't think it's the issue. I mean, you know, I'm getting started right now, and he got started back in like 2008, 2009. This isn't a race either. I mean, I'm really happy for him. It was really nice to meet him actually and talk to him a little bit. I think too that we're serving different audiences. So you know, for a lot of you subscribers like this, I'm grateful that you're here. I mean, this has been so awesome to have these little chats that we can have and stuff. And, you know, the audience that I think I'm reaching, again, because remember, you guys are 7 or 8% of the overall viewership. So 1 million views a month is what we're getting now. And the subscribers are 7 or 8% of that. So a very small percentage are people watching it. And we have a lot of crossover between people that watch Marcus Brownlee stuff and me. But the bulk of my viewership is all these folks who are just searching for things. And what I'm finding and looking through my demographics is that my audience tends to trend a bit older, you know, into my parents' age and thereabouts, because people are getting, you know, they're have a lot of choices in the marketplace. And I think however I'm presenting things to them is really making it useful. So my whole thing has been about efficiency, because I don't have a lot of, like I said, I don't have a lot of time to do a lot of production. So I do everything in real time here. So you've got the TriCaster, and you can see I can switch cameras, and I can do all this cool stuff. You know, I got this camera here. I can point it at the TriCaster screen here. You can see what it looks like. So I'm doing all this stuff live to disk because it's my efficiency here. So let me switch over here real quick. So this is how I switch my cameras. You can see what a mess I got. I got to start cleaning up here. But you know, the efficiency here is really what it's all about, because I can basically record just like I'm streaming right now. So I record onto this solid state disk here. I just pop this out, stick it in my Mac, and edit. And a lot of times I can be done with something within, you know, maybe an hour of shooting it and have it uploaded. And that, for me, that's been really good. Like last week I did like 6 videos all at once, which was awesome. Now what's cool was that in talking to Marcus Brownlee, because I was asking him about his subscriber count, he says about half of his views come from subscribers, whereas 8% come from mine. So I think what it is that the people, I don't know what compels people to subscribe to me, and I think there's a connection that we're making with each other, that, you know, we're having all these conversations all the time, which is great. But I think the viewers that I am getting are not the types that subscribe. So I'm seeing great growth on all of every front, you know, as far as revenue, views, and everything else is concerned. But I'm just going to keep kind of sticking with this model a little bit. So I think what I'm going to do is when I move downstairs, I'm going to get some of the lighting improved, and I think that will help too. Maybe have a nicer looking set and everything. But I'll tell you what, Marcus Brownlee's a really nice guy. Had a nice conversation with him. He's really down to earth, and he's just having fun. It's really cool to see that. I think he just graduated college like a month, 2 months ago. So it was really cool to chat with him. So, all right, guys, I'm going to take a few more here, and then I'm going to head out for the evening. Let's see. Joshua Brown says, not many 15-year-olds tune into things like this for the heck of it. Yeah, you know what's funny is there's so much stuff to watch, you know. So I think that, and I'm not even, you know, I'm 38, so I'm not that old, but I just remember like how different content was when I was a kid. Like we didn't have this stuff. We had, let's see, when I was 15, we had no internet. I was connecting to BBS systems with a modem on that Apple IIGS there. I think I ran a BBS for a while, and that was, you know, 1 call per phone line, and that was it. If your service you were trying to dial was busy, you'd have to just try back again later. So we had a global network. It was part of FidoNet, which, you know, would transfer messages all over the world, but there was no way to do video or anything like this. I did have, when I was 13, I had a cable show on the cable access station here in town, which was fun. So I did that for a little while. It was a show about video games and tech. So I'm kind of doing what I was doing when I was 13. I have a video up. You guys can check that out. You can see that on there. And I did an interview with somebody right when the Sega Genesis came out. It was from 1990, so it was right at, you know, at the genesis of all the 16-bit consoles and stuff, which was pretty cool. So Link Designs, you know, look, I'm pretty happy with the way things are growing. I mean, really, if you look at the last year, you know, I had 10,000 subscribers at the beginning of 2014. By the end of the year, I had over 45,000, I think, or thereabouts. Now I'm at 55,000. So I'm adding 3,000 subscribers a month. That's about where I've been averaging, which has been good. Now here's the big thing that'll tell me whether or not I need to do some more to up the game a little bit. Holiday season last year, right after Thanksgiving, my traffic it was like this. It was crazy because I was getting all these people searching for Christmas gifts and holiday gifts and everything else. So that was really when things really started cooking for me. So I'm really eager to see what happens this year. I'm really, you saw how much I did in the last week. I'm really out there now looking for affordable computers, tablets, all the stuff that I usually review, because I want to get as much of the holiday season stuff on the channel ASAP as possible. So I'm ready for that intake of traffic, and I'm really eager to see how that works. And you know, as far as intro videos go, I mean, I actually had a longer one. I used to do about 10 seconds. Now I'm down to 3 seconds. I had some friend of mine who does this for a living, actually, does advising channels for a living, mentioned that I should shorten that up a little bit. So that is what I did. Yes, let's see. Hey, Garth Ferguson. So Hugh Dinwiddle has a slingshot, a fishing pole, and a lead weight will get drones out of trees. How do I know that? I think he might have some experience with that. I did do a search on Google to see like how to get a drone out of a tree, and there was one forum post. This was brilliant. So this guy did a similar thing to what Hugh just talked about. He took a DJI Phantom drone, like the one I just got. By the way, that is not the one that got stuck. That drone hasn't crashed. It is sitting in the kitchen, happily resting until its next mission. Nothing happened to that one. It was the Parrot one. But he took the DJI drone and had it drop the fishing line with 2 sinkers on each side, and it got it. And that's how they pulled it down. It was brilliant. But I knew if I did that, I would have gotten both drones stuck in the tree. So that was it there. Let's see. And Eric Bronheimer says, yes, one of the earlier ones. I definitely see. It's funny. I do know all the frequent commenters because I know because we talk a lot. So Eric here, and Mobile Decay has been around for a long time too. Eric said, I've been subscribed for about a year, and it was the HD home run video that got him onto the channel. That's was my most popular video. The paper airplane one now is, which is cool. With the Bluetooth thing. GP remembers when I had 4,000 or 5,000 subscribers. I do too. It was actually funny when I hit 1,000. I was like, yes, I hit 1,000. I can do live streaming now. I was so excited about that, and it just kind of took off from there. So it's been good. I mean, I've been really, like I said, I've been really pleased with it because I don't have, this is not a full-time thing for me. I'm doing this, in my spare time. So, typically my workflow is, I go to work, come home, have dinner, play with my daughter for a little while, read a story to her, put her to bed. And then I come up and some nights I take the night off because I'm maybe ahead on content or whatever. So like tomorrow night I probably won't shoot anything because I have a review that is shot. I just have to add some graphics to it and upload it. So I usually, I kind of pace myself a little bit. Weekends, if I get a good weekend, so like last weekend, not this current weekend, but the weekend before, I had so much time at home, so I just cranked away. So you saw, I think I did 6 videos between, what I do is I rank how many videos I do between the wrap-ups. The wrap-ups are kind of like my bookends for the week. So I did 6 since last Monday, which was awesome. And I was really cranking stuff out, which has been good. So that is good. All right, I'll take a few more questions here. I can never stop. I love doing this. Kyle wants to know if the Cerebro Live Wedge has 30 frames per second multi-view during recording to SD. No, and in fact, right now, I got to check their latest update, but at the moment, I don't believe it can even record 30 frames per second onto the SD card at 1080, which is a disappointment. So I think they're having some optimization trouble with it. So you still probably want to do the external recorder. This Blackmagic thing is awesome if you get the right SSD. You take a SSD, you stick it in there, hit the record button, and you are off and running. It is really good for that kind of stuff. So I would recommend that a lot. There are coming out, if you go back and look at my NAB video, Blackmagic has a new one that I'm probably going to get because this HyperDeck device is really finicky with the kind of SSDs that it takes. So the new one that they have coming out works with SD cards. So if you get a fast enough card, it'll probably work with just about anything. And what it does, here's why I like this, is that because I use Final Cut Pro, it records a native format to Final Cut Pro, so you don't have to do any transcoding. So if you use a camcorder and you stick that video file into your computer, it often has to do some work on the video before you can edit it, or it does some things in the background that kind of bogs things down. If you do the Blackmagic one, it'll record right to the format that, frog in my throat. The format that your editing software will use. So that will work pretty well. So check that out. Yeah, Mobile Decay. I have been calling it a night and honest an hour ago. That is very true. Let's see. Thanks, Link. That's what I try to do here too, is that, here's the thing about honest reviews and sponsorships, and because you can check out my video that I did about the WD sponsorship, and I've been really mindful of that. I've turned away now, I think 3 or 4 people that wanted to sponsor the channel because I couldn't get behind the product. It wasn't, somebody wanted to sell me these stupid stickers that you stick on your phone, and stuff that I just don't need. I wouldn't use it. And I said to them, look, I'm not going to use this thing. There's no way I could have it sponsored on the channel. So I've been really mindful of how to kind of walk that tightrope with it, because the reality is that for producing content, I could not do as much as what I do if companies didn't send stuff here. And a lot of times I'm not keeping the stuff. It's coming here as a loaner or whatever. I do the Amazon, I'm in the Amazon Vine program, so a lot of things that I get come through that, where Amazon will send me things on behalf of a manufacturer to review on Amazon site, and I also put it up here on the YouTube channel. That's how I got started. And I'm really mindful of that, how to walk that tightrope, because we will take sponsors moving forward. There's just no two ways about it. I mean, I'm spending a lot of time on this, and if I'd be doing this if I wasn't making money, but I wouldn't be doing as much of it because I'd have to do some other things to fill my time. So that's why you're seeing so much on here. My ideal situation is that the manufacturer sends me something and I review it and then they take it back. That's the ideal situation, because then I'm not having to pay to buy it. But I'm also not keeping it, so it doesn't take up room here. And there's also that issue of objectivity as to whether or not I'm being objective in the review or whatever. So I'm really mindful of that, and it's tough because you develop relationships with the people that you're talking to all the time from these companies, and so I conduct myself professionally. That's kind of the approach that I take to it, and people are aware that I'm not always going to find things that I like about their product, or I'm going to point out the shortfalls of it. And I think a lot of the big companies get that, which has been interesting. Like WD with the sponsorship, they didn't even guide the content creation. They just said, do what you do anyhow, which was great. So that's what I've been doing. I kind of pick out some features that I think need some attention, or based on some questions that I get. And it was stuff that I was probably going to do anyhow, but I'm able now to have them come on as a sponsor, and that's been good. But I am really, really mindful of that, because having the objectivity to look at something and be honest with you all about it. Because I mean, a lot of you tonight even said, I bought X, Y, or Z product because you reviewed it, and you reviewed it favorably. And I really, think about that, because again, I'm reviewing things that are not very expensive. My videos are being seen by a very large segment of the marketplace, and I don't want to give bad advice. Now, every product is not going to be great for every person, so I might like something that when somebody gets it, they might think it's total garbage, and I feel bad about that. But the review that I'm going to give is going to be very objective, and it's going to really be my personal feelings on it as somebody who plays with this stuff all the time. So that's been kind of how I go after that. So yeah, Carl, that's a good idea, maybe having a topic for these Q&As. Maybe we'll do something like that. I hate ending it, because there's always so many more things to talk about. Eric Hardy says he's 50 and the honest reviews are appreciated. Right on. I am 38, almost 40. I'll be 39 in November, everybody, so you can sing me happy birthday or whatever. Let's see. Yeah, GP, yeah, I do spend 2 hours. Yeah, going to bed is usually just switching from the YouTube channel to the tablet to read some stuff before I go to bed. Let's see. So Justin Higgins wants to know how I feel about $60 tablets. I think if you can find a $60 tablet that does what you want it to do, it's great. I've been surprised by how good some of them are. You can check out the one that I did of the one you find at Micro Center. That was a good one. That was good. Mike Wimmer, thank you for the comment there. It's very nice. Let's see what else we got here. All right, I think I'm finally caught up on the chat window here. So I'm going to call it quits for tonight. So here's the cool thing now. I'm really excited about this YouTube streaming thing. First of all, it seems to have worked really well. So leave me some comments below. Let me know how the stream quality was. So that'd be helpful. Preston, you got your shout out. There you go, right before I cut it off here. And what's cool now on my TriCaster, because I have a streaming button on here, but YouTube used to have to go in and have to set something up ahead of time and load settings into there's all this stuff you had to do ahead of time. Now I can push a button and I'm live, which is so cool. So I'll probably do more of this. Like if I have a few moments or whatever and I'm just working on something else, I can just pop on live and have a little live stream happen quickly. It's kind of cool. So that is a neat thing. So Joshua Brown's got shouted out a lot in this review. He sure did. And GP had the WIM book and the screen broke after 2 months. And yeah, by the way, Micro Center, they have some pretty good customer service. So I don't have one near me, but my sister-in-law has one near her place, and they were really nice to her when she went in there. So good to hear the stream quality was working better this time. We had a pretty bad stream the last time we did it. So the big thing that happens is that if I go from a low motion, so when we started, if you remember when we started 2 hours ago, is that when we started? Yeah, or an hour ago. Let's go over to, let me pull up the graphics here that I had. So if I go to this, that's a still frame. So what happens is that the TriCaster is sending out video based on what's happening in the scene. So we've got a lot of motion right now. So you got me moving around, we got the graphic rolling there, and there's a lot of motion in the scene, so there's a lot of data being transmitted. And I found that when I go from one of these still images to a very high bitrate stream, and this happens on this one as well as the video I was using also. So I think there's some issue related to going from a still frame that's on for a long period of time to the actual thing. So we're going to have to play around with this a little bit more. So yeah, it looks like things really, this actually worked much better than the last stream did. So that was really good to see. And we had 40, 45, 50 people watching, which was cool stuff. So, so that's going to do it for tonight, everybody. I am exhausted. I am going to post a recording of this entire proceeding on the channel so you can see the winners announced in real time. If your name is up there, I'm going to email you to arrange for everything. If anyone refuses to take one of these things or doesn't confirm their address, I will select the next person on the list. So there's a chance you might still get one, but these things are pretty cheap. So if you want some options, go to Google Cardboard and you can check it out there. So I'm going to go to bed. Thank you all for watching. Tons of fun, and really appreciate your viewership. It means a lot to me, and I'm having a lot of fun with this. And we'll be back with some more live streams in the future. Talk to you soon.